the power of questions. This is where we're going today. Everyone has a message to share, but few of us have the skills to communicate it effectively. Questions. Why are they so important? What's the function of questions? Why do we use questions? Anybody want to offer a suggestion? Gathering information, yeah. Anything else? I would also suggest that they are a thinking tool. It's how we language our internal Q&A. Picture this. The alarm goes off first thing in the morning and you say to yourself, am I going to get up now or not? Your thinking process has started for the day. Now that could be seen as a resourceful question or a not so resourceful question, because you could answer, yes, I'm going to bounce out of bed and get on with the day, or snooze. So my question therefore is, why are questions powerful? Do you agree with that statement? Shall we explore that now or later? Which was a pretty dumb question, I think you'll agree. Now, I'm curious, what do you think about that? Okay, I've just rattled through 5 different types of questions, not giving you the chance to think about any answer to any of them. So I've mangled your internal Q&A before you even started. I'm going to go through those again and give you the examples of what sorts of different questions they are and how we can start using them resourcefully. So the first one, there's lots of them. Okay, the first one we were talking about was a why question. Why are questions so powerful? Inherent in that actual question is a presupposition. It presupposes that questions are powerful. So what you're actually doing there is you're looking for something to back up that assertion that questions are powerful. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. It's also a kind of a backwards looking thing. You've made that presupposition, you've made the statement, questions are powerful. Why is it? So you're looking back, what have I got in my arsenal of information, or what can I find out to back up that presupposition? Okay. Next one I want to look at was, do you agree? Now, we've got the why, which we've said comes with it presuppositions. Forgive my just abbreviating here. Then we've got 2 big areas of questions, one which are closed questions and one which are open questions. Now, most people have heard of those 2 big categories. Let's think about some closed ones for a minute. The next one I asked you was, do you agree? Now, that's a closed question. You're either going to get a yes answer or a no answer. No room for expansion. Okay? So you've got the examples being a yes, no. I gave another one later on, that was a pretty dumb question, wasn't it? Rhetorical. Because you're not going to really give me an answer to that, are you? I mean, you could try, but it would look a bit silly. I shared a house with 2 other speechy students, 2 opticians and a mechanical engineer going through uni. And we were having this discussion, and I went, oh, can't I even ask a rhetorical question without someone answering me? Guess what? Somebody answered. Right. Oh, ha! Cheers, boy. Okay, he was the only male speechy we had that year, and he did pass. Okay, so those are examples of closed questions. Another closed question which we had, which I mentioned, was, where are we? Shall we explore that now or later? That's not really giving you any room for expansion, because I'm already saying that we're going to do it anyway. Do you want to do it now or later? So that's what we call a forced alternative. It's one thing or the other. The classic one of that is, do you want tea or coffee? That's something that trips off our tongue all the time. We had that on Tuesday, didn't we? I said, you going out for a coffee? He went, not really. Okay, so forced alternative. So the other one I spoke, the last one I gave you was, I'm curious, what do you think? Now that's not a closed question. That's inviting you to expand on it. That's definitely an open question. Now, there are different sorts of open questions that we have. Just as you had different closed, we've got different open questions. You've got the fact-finding ones. So let's see. You could have that. Why can be a bit of a fact-finding one. Think about the example that I gave last time was the band Travis. You heard of Travis? No, they were a band in the 90s, and their big song was, "Why does it always rain on me? Was it because I lied when I was 17?" Now, they come from Hamilton, which is on the west coast of Scotland. The west coast of Scotland gets all the rain. Comes off the Atlantic. So it was nothing to do with the fact that they were lying when they were 17. It was more to do with where they lived. So that question, it was an open one. They were looking for a statement, but again, that was a presup. They were looking for a reason why it always rained on them. But it wasn't a particularly resourceful fact-finding thing because it was looking backwards again. Then you've got, okay, so that's your fact-finding. Then you've got things like reflective questions. You want to know what somebody feels about something. So how do you feel about the fact that petrol prices go up and down during the week in Perth? How does that make you feel? You can answer that. Frustrated, yeah. Because, yeah. It's been Monday's been the day for our area for months. And this Monday, the Puma actually had up 0. I thought, free? That'll be good. No, they just didn't want to put their price displayed. I discovered yesterday that they were down to what everyone else was offering on Monday. So maybe Puma have changed their day. Sneaky. My reflection on that was sneaky. Okay, so that's a reflective question. You're asking how somebody feels about something. Then you've got interpretative. Make sure I've got enough syllables. Interpretative. Now, these are the ones where you're asking somebody for what purpose. We often use the word why when we're actually asking for what purpose. It's a bit of a shorthand. But qualitatively, they're actually two different questions, and they have a different feel about them. You could ask somebody, why did you do that? Which is a bit sort of confrontational, a bit direct, and you might feel a bit resistance there. Whereas if you said to somebody, for what purpose? I'm curious, well, what was the purpose behind what you did? You're looking more at the motivation, and it doesn't feel as direct, it doesn't feel as confrontational. And you're getting an interpretation of the motivation, you're getting an interpretation of the meaning behind why the person did that, as opposed to the presupposition that I think you did it for this reason. Actually, no. Okay, so that's an interpretative question. The last one I want you to consider is decision and solution versus why and problems. I've mentioned the why with the presup already. Why tends to be looking back at the problem. That's the focus of it. It's the problem. So then we're looking back. It's not always a very resourceful question to be asking. Whereas if you're looking for solutions, you're looking for the way forward. So rather than the why does it always rain on me, how could I do something differently to make sure I don't get wet? Put an umbrella up. Move. Okay? You're looking for a solution. You're looking for the way forward. I hope this is valuable to you. And Caleb, you'll be getting a different slant on this from last time, and indeed from the one-day intensive that you came to. So those are 3 different areas to consider. Now, one of the reasons that I want you to think about this is facts, frequently asked questions. We will all have facts, FAQs that you have for your industry. You'll have an arsenal of the questions that people ask you. Make sure, if you haven't already, write down your top 10 FAQs so that when people ask you, you've got your already rehearsed answer to it. And you're not sitting there going, well, I wonder. Okay, you can look as though you've got the certainty and you're a person of value and credibility there. Now, one of the things that I want you to consider is with your FAQs, there could be quite a lot behind that, a lot of information that the person's after. The example that I gave last time was when we did the one-day intensive a few weeks ago. We had a member of the group who, she's a data analyst, and people ask her, what do you do? How long's a piece of string? There's an awful lot of information embedded in that question. It's so open. Where do you want me to start? Well, I get up in the morning, I have toast for breakfast. So you could ask her, well, what exactly are you wanting to know? Let's have a look at this. If you can reframe the question to a more powerful, useful one, then I would suggest that sometimes it doesn't work. If you're caught on the hoof, you might be able to give an answer that doesn't quite work. But if you think about it carefully and you have a ready reframe, you can turn that into a more powerful question. You can also then become more in control of the conversation. Let me give you an example. This lady we were talking to, we nutted it out because it's a very practical session. What is it the person wants to know? What do you do with data information? So we use the analogy of the shoebox of receipts the first time you head up to a bookkeeper because you don't know what you do. And the bookkeeper goes, okay, let me have your shoebox. I can sort you out. That's what I do with data. You have all this data coming in. You don't know what to do with it. I sort it out for you. We work out what's more useful. So in terms of the reframe that she could suggest to her client, this is what I recommend that you ask instead was, how do you help me sort my data? We've gone from an open what, the fact finding, to a solutions-based one. And suddenly, that's a far more useful and a more resourceful question that you are offering your potential client. Oh, didn't think of it that way. That's clarifying what it is I'm actually asking. You're also then offering them a way of sifting out the information that they can then ask potential rivals to you, if you haven't hooked them in already, what it is that you're going to be asking that's going to be most useful to you. So you can see that if you have prepped this ahead of time, you're then, instead of being on the back foot and then saying, well, what do you do? This is a really powerful question, and one I really recommend that you consider asking. Suddenly, you're in the power situation, you've changed the frame of it, you're a person of value. Whether they come to you for your services or not, you are a person of value. You are then a trusted advisor, and your estimation, your credibility has gone up. With the questions that you then ask them or get them to consider, you're getting a way of the information coming back to you. You're getting the idea of, I do beg your pardon, you're getting the idea of the burning questions that they already have. What is it that you haven't got an answer to yet? Put the ball back in their court. Is there a solution that you can provide to their problem? Because if you can come up with the solution that they're after, you've made it. What is it that they're actually asking of themselves? What is it their top their questions, their things that they're looking at Google in the middle of the night when they can't sleep. What are they popping in? Because if you then find out from them what their values are, what their problems are, you can use, if you listen very carefully, you can use that language in your copy, in your conversations. You can start to preempt the resistance that you may have, because the resistance will come from the conscious brain. And by answering all those questions, because you've listened and you've got your feedback data, suddenly you're speaking to my problem. You've been looking over my shoulder when I've been tapping this in the middle of the night, haven't you? You understand me, you get me. So if you don't already, I highly recommend that you have some questions to ask for marketing feedback. Where in the education process, because we all know about education-based marketing, where in the education-based process did you come on board? What was important to you? What was really important? What was it that made you go, yeah, I want to do that. I want to work with them. What wasn't so important? Listen very carefully to the words you get, the phrases you get, and use those in your own marketing, because you will then be speaking directly to your target audience. I trust this has been valuable to you with what we've been saying. We've explored the power of questions. Now, the questions, this is just one of the areas that we look at in the Ultimate Communication Mastery System for hitting your target market. Once you have your communication so beautifully refined that the people that you're talking to just can't wait to hear more. They want to know more. They want to work with you because you get them. They're understanding what you're saying. As I said, they feel as though you're looking over their shoulder in the wee small hours. So, as I said to you to start with, everyone has a message to share, but few people have the skills to communicate it effectively. The power of your questions to your own internal thinking process and externally to transform your message into profit is where the power of questions can come in. I trust that you've seen the value in this today, and you can see that coming on board with the Ultimate Communication Mastery System will be something that will be of even more value to you, because I've just given you a hint, a little soupçon, if you like, an appetizer of the sorts of things that we get up to. There's a program that is pretty comprehensive, and in fact, there's actually even something else that's been added since last week. So people want to see what's available. We do a tailor-made program, and that's where we talk about it. We go through it and we work out what's best for you. I do one-day intensives, which are, again, a bit more of an overview and do lots of different elements, and they are very practical. Would you agree, Caleb? Yeah. So we make sure that they are practical, they're useful, and you can start using the information immediately. Have you done your FAQs, by the way? Good man. Okay. So, and you got the preempt of those ones. So when you turn up in January, you already have it done. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about, the Ultimate Communication Mastery System. I would love to talk to each and every one of you after this session, just to see where it is that you feel that your burning questions are in relation to your communication. And let's work on the power of your communication and your questions. Thank you.